Hello, Augies Worldwide. I'm Dave Casler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, here with another episode of Ask Dave. And today we're going to do something a little different. Okay, we're going to just jump outside of ham radio just a tiny bit so that we can explore another service called GMRS. That's the General Mobile Radio Service. I've discovered a lot of hams use this because of the simplicity of using it along with other people who aren't hams. Now, GMRS is a Part 95 radio service. The way it works is you have to pay $35 to get a license. There's no test. You just pay the fee. And I did that once just to see how it worked. It was relatively easy to do, and they issue you a really weird call sign, 4 letters and 3 numbers. It turns out that Retevis and a lot of the other Chinese folks make GMRS radios. Now, I had the one experience where TalkPod took a GMRS radio, changed the firmware to work on both 144 to 148 megahertz and 430 megahertz to 450 megahertz. It worked fairly okay on the 70 centimeter band, but was really wildly out on the 2 meter band because the front end was not designed for it. It was designed for GMRS. Well, GMRS is interesting. When you get your license, it's not only good for you, it's good for your immediate family, which includes grandparents, parents, children, your spouse, your immediate in-laws, all of that sort of thing. So it becomes a sort of a thing that you can use. Like, for example, if you're taking some family hunting or going hiking or something like that. The radio power is much more than the family radio service. But interestingly, the two overlap, so there's interconnectivity between the two. Very interesting how the thing works. Because there's no tests there, that means you don't need to really know anything about radios. So as a GMRS licensee, you're not allowed to repair your own radios. You have to let a qualified repairman do that. Well, for what they cost these days, you might as well throw away a non-working one and get another one. So anyway, Retevis sent me the C2, which is their GMRS radio right now. And I tried to give it the same tests that I give to ham radio, Handheld. We'll take a look at that. Interestingly, several channels on GMRS can be used with repeaters. And I've been sent a repeater by Retevis, so I'll be putting that up and we'll see how well that works. But today we're just going to talk about the Handheld. Now, first, we'll do the unboxing. Second, we'll look at some pictures I pulled off of Amazon that show the price and some of the features. And third, I have a typed up list here of comments that I made to myself as I was doing the reviewing. We'll take a look at those. The bottom line is it seems to be a solid radio for this sort of thing. And the actual harmonics are well behaved, reasonably well behaved. Okay for a Chinese radio. I would like to see the second harmonic be another 10 or 20 dB down, but it isn't. Oh well, we'll take a look. Okay, so let's go to the unboxing. This is the Retevis C2 GMRS radio. It'll work either 5 watts or on the FRS channels, a half watt. Okay, the voltage, that's the voltage of the battery, a couple lithium cells in series. Okay, what have we here? We have an instruction manual, which, by the way, is all in English. You get the full thing in English, okay? It comes with what they call a data cable, which we would call a programming cable. Here is the radio itself. The battery, you pull down on this little tab right there, and you pull the battery down and off. Okay, now it says in here there's an FCC ID number. The 2A300 is the Retevis company ID and the C2 is the model. Now, I looked it up on the FCC website. It's not there. Okay, so something is either pending or just hasn't been done yet. To put the battery on, you just push this last little part. So that's the radio. Here's the antenna. This is an antenna that's good, supposedly, not only for 70 centimeters, but also 2 meters. Of course, we're only using the GMRS frequencies, which are in the 462 and 467 megahertz region, so above the 70 centimeter band. Okay, there's the little radio. We'll talk about what it does and some of the pros and cons of it in a minute. For power, you do it with 5 volts. So many things in ham radio are coming over to 5 volts right now. So they give you a little thing you can plug in, and this plugs into the back of this, and you can put your radio in here. You get a fairly bright red light while it's charging and a pretty bright green light when it's done. Now, the interesting thing about that is you could take this thing out if you lose it, for example. Put this in. This is a Type C, and you can charge the radio this way. This is very handy for mobile charging. You don't have to deal with this thing. Now, where this comes in handy is if you want to keep it on a desk. But they do say that once it's charged, please don't keep charging it. There you go. You can use that or not. All right. Now, they also include a little wrist strap that goes through this right here. And they also include a belt clip where you have to take these off and put the belt clip on right there. You can if you want. I don't normally put that on. I'm afraid of putting a radio in my belt. I'll bump something and lose it. I'd rather keep it in a pocket. Or if I'm carrying it, I put the strap around my hand. You look at this radio and you go, oh, a DMR radio, because it has the green and the red and the P1, the P2. This button over here is programmable. This is your push to talk. Okay, this right here is where not only do you put a headset if you want one, it's the Kenwood style. Okay, so one that works for another radio should work for this too. This is also where you plug in the programming cable. You don't program it through the USB port there. That's for charging, okay? But you can program it through there. There is software for it. The radio has some 250 channels, but they're only like 30 plus or minus GMRS channels. So what would you change? Well, let's suppose that you're going out with 3 different groups, and Bill's group always uses a different tone from the group that you use. You can just set that up in a different channel, and you can name the channels. Okay, it's got a very nice screen right here.
Land close.
That's
Land
the
open.
flashlight. The flashlight is a
Land
nice
closed.
addition to that. And you can get the weather channel. It will receive the weather channels. Unfortunately, both the one in Montrose and the one in Grand Junction are non-operational at this point. They may have been a casualty of an administration budget cut. So this one right here switches the frequency on the bottom and the frequency on the top back and forth, okay? And this one right here gets you your menu, and you've got all different kinds of things. You can set anything from the menu here, or you can do it online, and I'll show you doing it online in just a little bit. This glows green when you're receiving something and red when you're transmitting. See there? Okay, so there it is. It looks very much like a handheld. It is completely analog. It is possible with some of these radios that you can send in the background, in a digital signal, your location information and so on. Not very much, but those can be sent in the background. Now look, the screen just timed out. Can you see anything there? Absolutely nothing. Okay, you've got to punch a button in order for the screen to come back. Now, other radios, when the screen backlight goes off, you can still see the numbers in the sunlight. That is not true with this one. That would be a nice feature. But I think what Retevis did was it took a design for a DMR radio keyboard and just adapted it to the GMRS radio. Now, this is pure GMRS only. It won't transmit or receive on ham radio frequencies. In fact, it's illegal to do GMRS to ham radio. Now, what the manual does, it lists a lot of the capabilities. GMRS analog radio, it has something called group call. So if each of the radios in your little group, your hiking group or whatever, has a different tone for receive, you can hit the group call and go around all that to get everybody at once. DTMF is dual tone multi-frequency, which is only used for signaling. It's illegal to connect the GMRS to a telephone, unlike ham radio. A single and dual watch, you can watch two frequencies at once. It has an emergency alarm, which means it'll make a noise. Memory channel frequency mode, they have channel and frequency mode, which to us would be memory, and that's about it. You know, it says frequency mode where you can punch in a number directly, but that would be channel number. You can customize the channel names. Its frequency, it will tell you the frequency. It doesn't really have a measuring device. A battery save to shut it off or shut it partially down to standby. Scan, auto power off. In other words, if you leave it for a while, it'll go off. You might want to defeat that if you're out on a hiking trail, because otherwise the thing will shut off on you. It has prompts in English, or if you want, Chinese. It has voice-operated relay, which I tell everybody not to use on any kind of FM or whatever repeater. It has talk around, so you can talk directly to people on the repeater output frequency. It will reverse the frequencies, so if somebody's going into the repeater, you can hear that signal rather than the repeater output. Noise reduction is really only useful on the NOAA weather radio. It does have a noise reduction, but on FM, you're either in or out. Flashlight, and you can record all of the playback. So those are the primary features. Let's look at some of these pictures I've got here. First of all, this is Amazon. This radio, as I've just showed it to you here, now this does have the instruction manual and the programming cable, $40. Now, I printed this a couple days ago. The new tariffs will make this go up, okay? It's still an inexpensive radio, even at twice the price, okay? There's a whole bunch of stuff, whole bunch of things. One that I picked up here shows the push-to-talk key, the side key. The side key is programmable, okay? Antenna, flashlight, an indicator for transmit, receive, or standby. Standby is off. Volume and power knob. Now I want to show you something about the power knob on this thing. Did you hear that? No, because there's nothing to hear. When the thing goes to off like that, there's no click. Similarly with the thing going on. Now, with the thing going on and when the screen goes blank, you can't tell that the thing is powered on. So there really needs to be more hold in that snap right there so that if it's off, it stays off and it doesn't accidentally come down and just shut off on you when you'd like to keep the thing on, okay? I would like to see that changed. The LCD display, again, if it's gone black, you're going to have to push a button to bring it back. Up channel, down channel, the menu key, this will exit you from the menu. The microphone is right there. The speaker is down here. See the lines for the speaker? Okay. The microphone is right there. So don't talk into the back of it or anything. You want to talk into the microphone. Now, I've discovered if you get that too close, it'll pick up a lot of so-called plosives. Okay, this is the speaker mic button, Type-C charging port, and the battery. Okay, so that gives you a rough idea of what some of these things are. This is what the package includes. One of the walkie-talkies, one battery, one Type-C charging cable, this thing, which you can either use or not. It does come with what it calls a data cable. We would more commonly call that a programming cable. Comes with the belt clip, hand strap, and user manual. Let's take a look at programming this thing. You've got to go to the Retevis site and download the programming software, which unfortunately appears to only be available for PC. Okay, and then you open that up and it puts an icon on your computer screen if you want it. So we're going to go in here. Notice that this goes in upside down like that. Press it carefully all the way in, okay? This you can put into your computer, just like that, okay? First of all, what port? So go up here to, this is Windows 11, go up here to Device Manager, and it will show ports. Now the question is, which one goes away? We've got 1, 3, 4, and 8. If I pull this out, the one that goes away is 4. Okay, so if I put this back in, the one we're dealing with is 4. All right, that's the key number. Now we find the C2 programming, bring that up, okay, and here is your list, and you actually have to pull this down and let it go to come up with the new ones. There are, like I said, over 250 channels, whereas really these channels right here are the ones that overlap with the family radio service. I wish this would scroll. It does not scroll. These are obviously repeater channels. Then as you go up a little bit, repeater channels go up to here, 23 through 30 are repeater channels. Now you can also use the inputs for simplex, okay? The output is the repeater, but the channels don't seem to be in any particular order, okay? And some of these overlap with the repeater input frequencies. Now, if you go to channel type, you have only one choice, analog channel. Now note, this is a CTCSS or tone. You can put DCS in here if you want. CTCSS, and you see this has got quite a variety. These are the CTCSS encode. You can send out tones, and then you can put in the receiver a tone too. So you will only hear another radio that's putting this out. Now, there is a feature in there, since several people may be on that channel and you don't know it. It'll do a busy channel lockout so you don't step on somebody else, okay? High power is 5 watts. Low is 2 watts. Okay, now, push to talk ID. You can do beginning, tone, end tone, or both. Push to talk ID. Busy channel lock. This is the busy channel lock. If there's a carrier or anything that makes the channel busy, you can set it up so that it will let you know it can't transmit right now because someone else is using the channel. You can add this to the scan list. The default is it will be part of the scan list. The DTMF group, okay, has to do with the very limited DTMF. The DTMF dual tone multi-frequency is one of the buttons. If you've got the transmit down and you push on one of these buttons, it will send that tone. And then there's a scramble. Now the scramble means encryption. It's not legal in the United States. It is in some places, but it is not legal in the United States. If you turn this on and the FCC can trace it back, you've got an issue with the FCC. Companding, it's like compression on your HF radio. You can use that there. Any is a way of communicating go or no-go information with another channel to open up the channel. We're going to leave it off. Talk around is when you want to talk on a repeater output channel, okay? The channel name, you can add more. Gives you a couple more items that you can put in here. The receive frequency, the tone, what tone you want for receiving. Right now it's blank. There's no DCS in here. Push to talk ID off, wide, narrow. Hams use wise, but the family radio service uses narrow. Busy channel lockout, channel name. It's actually all of the data here that you would have. I want to look at some of the other things in here. Channel information is this right here. Now, like I said, let's suppose you and Bill are going to use 67 for all of yours, but you and Roger are going to use a different frequency. You can set them up and put this up, Bill. Okay, put Bill in there. Then you can repeat all this with a different tone down in another channel and make that Roger. Okay, so you know who it is that you want to talk to. Now there's a function set up in here that's got all of the different little things about the radio. You've got an English timeout timer, scan type, it's carrier on, and you've got tone on, stuff like that. Timeout timer, punish time means if you do timeout, there's a period of time it won't let you transmit. Wow, nah, I don't think we're going to punish our operators. The priority scan channel, work mode is memory, okay? Key lock is off, backlight. Now auto backlight time, that's how long it will stay on before it shuts off. APO, I think this is the automatic power off. Okay, like I said, you're going to want to turn that off. The tone is for some repeaters which require a tone. Not going to worry about that. The AB switch is auto. Push to talk delay. Main channel is A. NOAA channel, you can put the NOAA, ours here is 3, but it's in up. And a group call on channel 6, and a whole bunch of little menus that you can do there. Okay, show battery voltage. Let's have it show the battery voltage, okay? And for this particular channel, all the stuff on that, you can redefine the keys, okay? Monitor, lamp, talk around, frequency reversal, detect frequency, AI denoise, that's your noise reduction, sub PTT and group PTT, okay? I'm just going to leave it on whatever it was originally. And there's a difference between a short press and a long press. The programmable keys are the SK, which is the side key, and the PF1 and the PF2, which are on the front of the radio there, okay? Now, you can also put a power on password in here, all right, and the frequency step if you're doing a direct entry. 25 kilohertz is what it's set for. I really recommend not using the Vox on one of these because if you stick it on your belt and you're going through brush, it's going to cause it to transmit, which you really don't want. Sleep option, sleep time, power down point, all of these kinds of things are programmable. Now the channel option right here, you can set the squelch level, the denoise level, the tails, and so on in there. DTMF, you can do things. It will tell you what you do. You set the code here, and it does things that are explained in the manual. Now, the radio would seem to indicate that this will receive FM, but I see nothing in here that says it will receive commercial FM broadcasts. There's nothing in there to that. Now, if you want to, now I have programmed a couple things into the radio. We can read data from the radio. You can put a password into that if you want to, and you hit read. We've got the COM port right, we've got the radio on, and it's reading the radio, and it will now change anything that it has here. Now, I will warn you about this. When you read all of the data, okay? Now, when you go to write, let's change this right here again to Roger, okay? And now let's write what is in here to the radio. Again, it's going to write every single thing. You can't make one change, write it, make another change, write it. You write the whole thing all at once. It's written the data. We'll cancel that, okay? And we'll take this out. Show channel name. We'll push enter on that. We're going to go to on and save. Okay, and see it says Roger right there, which is what we put in. Okay, so you can have that on there. We know it's channel 1. Now on my PC, I didn't have to install any kind of a special driver for this. It worked fine right out of the box. Yours will probably too. It's a prolific chip, but it's one of the prolific chips that are widely used now. Now, as I mentioned, I've got this list of things. The FCC number that's on there is not listed on the FCC website, which is disappointing. So they're jumping the gun because they're selling these things without the FCC having gone through. GMRS regulations are in Part 95 of the FCC rules, Subpart E, Paragraph 1701 plus. No tests, license issued for 35. My call sign is WSGQ881. That just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? You're supposed to use that after 15 minutes, not 10 like amateur radio, but 15 minutes. You've got to do it at least once, or if your interchange with somebody else is less than that, you need to use the call sign at the end of that. And now it does cover the extended family. The radio has gobs of channels. I mentioned that. Several channels are set aside for repeaters. It appears to me from reading this that anyone can set up a repeater temporarily. This is a repeater, and Retevis sent me one of these too. You hook an antenna to it. The way you power it on is by providing power. It's quite heavy, not because it has batteries in it, but because it has the CAN filters to keep the two frequencies separate from each other, so you can receive and transmit at the same time on this antenna. And we're going to do a separate review on that. I've got an antenna on order that I can put up on my roof that's a GMRS antenna, and we'll put that up and then we'll do a bunch of repeater tests. Now, spectral purity I tested two ways. This picture that you're looking at right now was taken with my Regal digital spectrum analyzer number 815. The second harmonic is 33 dB down, which in my mind is not quite enough. It should be a little bit more than that. But for a Chinese radio, it's about what you get. The third harmonic is 58 dB down from the fundamental. Now, the tiny spectrum analyzer readings were not much different from that. So I was only sent one radio, so I programmed a Radioddity GA510 for GMRS. This is a ham radio, but it's one of those that's a Part 95 radio, and it'll transmit from 400 megahertz up to about 480. Okay, it also transmits 136 to like 154. It shouldn't do that. It should just transmit on AM. But it can be used as a GMRS radio. This is a purely analog radio. And it does work, okay? Now, what I'd like to show you right now, where I'm using the GMRS radio outside, and my wife has the Radioddity inside, and then we swap radios so you can hear what it sounds like on both of them. It's perfectly acceptable audio. Okay, so I have the GMRS Retevis radio outside, and we're listening to it through a Radioddity radio that also transmits and receives on GMRS. This is the Radioddity radio transmitting on a GMRS frequency to the Retevis GMRS, and we get a little bit of an idea of the audio quality. Now, I did notice that if I had the two radios next to each other, the transmit power of the one completely swamped the front end of the other, and you couldn't hear a thing. You have to separate them like in next rooms and stuff like that, okay? Which was kind of odd because ham radios seem to work even when they're right next to each other. Now, in order to get this to work with the GMRS radio, I just completely dumped all the tones. So it's carrier operated only. The thing can record, so you can record your conversations. Now, I don't know if that records the empty space in between or just the words themselves. Now, it points out in the manual from an RF safety point of view, remember there's the occupational or / controlled environments, and then there's the general public environment. This is used under the occupational controlled use only, okay? Now, there are noise reduction settings. FM already removes noise because of the way it's set up, the way it's designed. Weather radio is analog, it's AM, and you can get noise on that, and this will do a pretty good job of that. It also has a flashlight, a very weird alarm call, and something called group call. So would I recommend this as a GMRS radio? Appears to work fine. I am not any kind of an expert on GMRS, but there may be situations where you'd like to use it. Family radios don't transmit over a very long distance. If you want like 5-watt walkie-talkie kind of distance, you're going to want to go GMRS. Now, who are you usually talking to? Well, like on a family outing, you can use the FRS completely without license. The GMRS requires that you purchase a license, which gives you a call sign, but no tests or anything like that. And you can give them to the members of your family, to your in-laws, and so on for some kind of a family event. There doesn't seem to be nearly as much GMRS activity as there is ham radio activity, so it might give you a little peace and quiet. You can also use GMRS for public service activities, just like we can with ham radio. The advantage being, not everybody has to have a GMRS license. If you're unrelated, you do. You'll have different call signs. But then his kids and family and your kids and family can talk to each other using their respective call signs. So it's an interesting thing. I hesitate to say too much about GMRS because I really don't know that much about it, but this is a good radio. Why would you be at all interested in GMRS as a ham? Well, it does give you that ability to work with people in your own family without having to worry about licenses. Your wife does not need to pass. Your kids don't need to pass, and so on. Now, you as the license holder are responsible for anything these other people say, okay? You as the license holder have that responsibility. So there you go, a little bit of an introduction to GMRS, and take it from there. If you'd like to help support this channel, which is almost 99% amateur radio, you can support us through Patreon. Patreon.com/KE0OG is a great way to do it. Also, you can just join the channel by clicking on member. That's another good way to do it there too. Our videos are released as soon as they're made to our patrons and to the members, and also to those who use the old legacy PayPal method of subscribing. Will get access to the videos as soon as they're posted. A video can be posted a month in advance of when it's actually released, because we try to stay way ahead in case one of us gets sick or something. So there you have it. Until we next meet, I'm going to use a ham radio term, 73.